Chosen one, if you're seeing this message right now, understand that this is not a coincidence. It is a moment of importance. At exactly 3 a.m., you are being called to remain indoors. This is not a suggestion, but a protective instruction rooted in spiritual understanding. The night carries unique energies, and this hour, often referred to in spiritual teachings as the veil hour, is recognized across many traditions as a significant period of heightened spiritual activity. Remaining inside at this specific time is about positioning yourself for transformation rather than exposure. At 3 a.m., a spiritual shift begins to occur. It is during this window that your spirit may undergo a form of purification, an internal realignment intended to remove energetic imbalances and restore clarity. The purpose of this process is to prepare you for responsibilities and challenges that lie ahead. It is about readiness, protection, and renewal. The instruction to stay inside is not meant to invoke fear, but rather to create an environment where the spiritual renewal can happen undisturbed. Distractions, vulnerabilities, or environmental disturbances that exist outside during these hours can interfere with the process. In short, the atmosphere indoors allows your body and mind to remain grounded while the transformation takes place. Within you, spiritual development often involves periods of stillness. And in that stillness, particularly at a time when the world is largely asleep, there is a quiet space for deeper spiritual interaction. This is not superstition. It is about creating a condition for focus, reflection, and deeper inner work. The early morning hours between midnight and dawn have long been regarded as a time for insight, meditation, and spiritual growth. At 3 a.m., it is believed that energies shift more freely between the physical and spiritual dimensions. This is why it's emphasized that you should remain indoors and aware. The goal is not simply to avoid danger, but to participate in an intentional recalibration of your inner self. Some people may describe sensations of clarity, warmth, or peace. Others may experience restlessness or emotional release. These are all part of a process in which your mind, body, and spirit are being aligned for higher purpose. This moment is about preparing you to navigate your life with greater purpose, resilience, and direction. For many, this period marks a transition. It is a point of movement from one phase of your personal development into another, where outdated thought patterns, emotional blockages, or spiritual burdens are being cleared to make space for strength and vision. When the instruction is given to stay indoors at this hour, it reflects a broader principle. Spiritual safety is often connected to conscious awareness. It's about withdrawing from unnecessary exposure in order to focus on personal transformation. At times, isolation is not a punishment but a safeguard, a moment for recalibration. This process can be likened to preparing a vessel. Before a container can be filled with fresh water, it must first be emptied and cleaned. Similarly, your inner being must be cleared of confusion, fear, and residual negative energy before new clarity and purpose can enter. These types of spiritual shifts are often subtle but significant. They impact how you approach your relationships, your responsibilities, and your personal mission. This quiet hour is not just about staying physically indoors, but creating an internal sanctuary. It's a time for mental stillness, reflection, prayer, or meditation. You are not meant to sleep through this moment in a purely physical sense. If you feel drawn to be awake, it may be because your spirit is being stirred for a reason. Being called chosen is not about status or superiority. It is about function. It means you have a role to play in a larger unfolding plan. And to fulfill that role, you must first be prepared. That preparation involves release, renewal, and empowerment. This calling comes with responsibility. You are not being isolated to be forgotten, but to be transformed. In periods of solitude, many people find their truest direction. And at 3 a.m., the instruction is to lean into that solitude not as emptiness, but as preparation. Some people may notice that they wake up around this time consistently. This could be due to stress or irregular sleep, but in spiritual contexts, it may also be seen as a sign of alignment, a signal that your inner rhythm is syncing with a broader spiritual timeline. If that is the case for you, view it not with fear, but with awareness. Within this window, your body may experience what some refer to as energetic cleansing. Though invisible, the effects can be felt emotionally or physically. This could include mental clarity, emotional release, or even physical sensations such as warmth or lightness. These are common during spiritual reorientations and are nothing to fear. They are simply indicators that inner realignment is underway. Imagine your inner life as a space filled with memories, beliefs, and experiences. Over time, some of these may become outdated or even obstructive. The purpose of this spiritual moment is to identify and remove these internal blocks, clearing space for clarity and strength. It's not about erasing your past, but about reorganizing your energy to reflect your current and future path. The concept of spiritual plasma, while symbolic, represents a powerful infusion of energy and insight. It suggests the activation of inner capacities, resilience, perception, and endurance that have been dormant or underdeveloped. This energy is not visible in the way light is, but its effects are no less real. You may find your thinking becomes sharper, your emotions more balanced, and your intuition more reliable. Just as athletes train their bodies for performance, chosen individuals are called to train their spirits for endurance. This process begins in solitude, during quiet moments like the early morning hours. It is in these spaces that you begin to hear your internal guidance more clearly, distinguish truth from illusion, and recognize which paths are meant for you. Being indoors during this hour serves another purpose: to protect you from spiritual noise. The world outside may carry distractions, unresolved energy, or even harmful influences that can interfere with your alignment. Indoors, you are more in control of your environment, able to set boundaries and engage in practices that promote peace and balance. Whether or not you feel a physical difference at that hour is less important than maintaining spiritual awareness. The benefits of this process accumulate over time. Each act of obedience, each moment of stillness, each instance of inner clarity builds a stronger foundation for your spiritual resilience. One key aspect of this transformation is the gradual shedding of outdated identity patterns. These can include self-doubt, inherited fears, or limiting beliefs that no longer serve your purpose. You might notice that certain thoughts or behaviors feel increasingly foreign or unnecessary. This is a sign that you are moving into a new stage of awareness. What follows next is often referred to as realignment. Your priorities may shift. What once seemed urgent might now appear trivial. Conversely, previously overlooked aspects of your life, your health, your purpose, your inner peace may take on new importance. This isn't random. It is a natural consequence of recalibration. Your relationships may also be affected. As you change internally, you may begin to attract different types of people, those who align more closely with your values and growth. Others, who once shared your space but no longer align with your journey, may begin to drift away. This is not a loss, but a rebalancing. Relationships that support your evolution will deepen. Those that hinder it will fade. In the midst of all this change, it's essential to develop practices of grounding. These include daily reflection, consistent prayer or meditation, and engagement in meaningful community. Grounding helps ensure that your growth does not become destabilizing. It connects your transformation to a lived, functional reality. As you continue to experience these changes, know that challenges may arise. Growth often brings with it a series of tests, emotional triggers, unexpected decisions, or moments of doubt. But these should not be seen as signs of failure. Rather, they are confirmation that you are moving forward. Each test provides an opportunity to solidify what you've learned and clarify your direction. Consider this process as being similar to refining a metal. It is placed under high heat not to destroy it, but to remove impurities and increase its strength. Likewise, your trials are refining you. They are not punishments, but preparations. You may also notice that your ability to perceive spiritual truths improves. Discernment becomes sharper. Situations that were once confusing become clearer. You begin to trust your inner guidance and recognize when something aligns or does not with your path. As this internal shift takes root, you'll find your energy changing. You may become more intentional with your time, more selective with your commitments, and more focused on your mission. This is a sign that the transformation is integrating into your daily life. Eventually, the process of purification, empowerment, and realignment begins to produce external evidence. These are the tangible signs of your transformation: decisions made with confidence, goals achieved with clarity, or the sense of peace that accompanies doing what you were meant to do. It's important to remember that spiritual growth is ongoing. There will be more moments like this, times when you're asked to pause, reflect, and realign. The key is to remain attentive. The instruction to stay indoors at 3 a.m. may be for now, but the larger message is constant. Stay aware, stay grounded, and remain open to guidance. As the inner transformation deepens, your awareness continues to sharpen. The changes you've undergone are not superficial. They begin to influence how you interact with the world around you, how you think, respond, and lead. The spiritual strengthening that began in the quiet of the early morning hour becomes increasingly evident in your day-to-day life. At this stage, what's important is to understand the role you now play, not just in your own growth, but in the environment you influence. Being spiritually realigned equips you to lead with clarity. Whether or not you see yourself as a leader, the fact remains that others will begin to take notice of your presence, your peace, and your strength. These qualities will naturally draw people toward you for guidance or support. This is where responsibility increases. The energy you carry after this spiritual recalibration is not meant to be stored, it is meant to be applied. Your words carry greater weight. Your decisions influence more than just your own outcomes. You become a stabilizing force for others, whether it's your family, community, or even people you encounter casually. This is not a pressure to perform. Instead, it is a call to remain consistent in your discipline, to stay connected to the finest, to the practices that grounded you during your spiritual awakening. Think of this as maintaining a tuned instrument. Just as a finely tuned piano needs regular care to stay in harmony, your spirit will require ongoing attention through habits of faith, rest, and wisdom. There may be moments where you feel tested. Circumstances may emerge that seem designed to provoke old responses or emotional habits you believed you had already overcome. These are not setbacks. They are opportunities to demonstrate that your transformation is real. They allow you to reinforce your growth and expand your awareness even further. You may also begin to observe a change in your environment. Your presence can now influence the atmosphere of a room. Conflict may de-escalate more easily in your presence. People may report feeling more calm, hopeful, or energized around you. These are all indirect confirmations of the internal work that has taken place. It is also possible that not everyone will respond positively to your growth. Some may feel uncomfortable with your clarity or confidence. Others may resist the change because it disrupts the dynamics they were used to. This is a common phase of transformation. When someone grows, it can inadvertently highlight where others are stagnant. But this tension should not discourage you. It's not your role to shrink back to make others comfortable. Instead, your role is to remain grounded and authentic, modeling what healthy transformation looks like. This also means setting boundaries. Protecting your time, energy, and focus becomes increasingly important as you progress. Just as a healing wound must be protected from re-injury, your new mindset and energy require protection as they solidify. You are not being called to isolate yourself permanently, but to discern wisely where and with whom you share your energy. As you continue in this transformation, your spiritual sensitivity will become more developed. You may find that your instincts become more reliable. Decisions that once seemed difficult may now appear with greater clarity. Patterns that once confused you may suddenly become obvious. These are not coincidences. They are part of the spiritual recalibration that enables clearer vision. There may also be an increased desire for purpose-driven living. Activities that once felt fulfilling may now seem hollow. Goals that previously motivated you might lose their appeal. This isn't disillusionment. It's redirection. Your values are realigning with your higher calling, and with that comes the urge to pursue work, relationships, and experiences that reflect your deeper sense of meaning. This pursuit of purpose may manifest in new ways. You might feel drawn to serve, create, or lead in areas you never previously considered. You may feel called to contribute to something larger than yourself, a cause, a movement, or a mission that aligns with your spiritual values. Pay attention to these nudges. Often, your next steps are revealed not in grand revelations, but in small, persistent pulls of the heart. At the same time, remember that rest remains a vital part of spiritual strength. There can be a temptation to move too quickly, to rush into every opportunity that aligns with your new sense of clarity. But transformation thrives in balance. Make space for silence, reflection, and joy. Spiritual maturity is not measured by constant activity, but by consistent alignment. One of the most significant outcomes of this journey is the expansion of your spiritual authority. This does not mean control or dominance. It means influence rooted in authenticity and integrity. When you speak from a place of personal transformation, people listen. When you act from a place of alignment, things move. This kind of authority cannot be faked or forced. It is recognized instinctively by others because it carries the weight of real experience. This also allows you to become a safe space for others. In transition, as you've been refined through solitude, spiritual cleansing, and divine empowerment, you are now equipped to help others navigate similar changes. Whether through listening, teaching, mentoring, or simply being present, your life becomes a lighthouse quietly guiding others toward their own alignment. This is why it's essential to stay anchored in humility. Growth does not make you superior to others. It simply means you have more responsibility to model peace, patience, and grace. Your influence will grow most steadily when it is rooted not in ego, but in genuine service. In this phase, you may also find yourself facing new types of resistance. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're now operating at a higher frequency that challenges spiritual stagnation. Systems, routines, and even relationships that no longer align will naturally begin to shift or resist. This can bring about discomfort. There may be tension in places you once felt safe, but this isn't to discourage you. It's a signal that your growth is real. Just like a tree's roots expand and disrupt the ground around them as the tree grows, your expansion may cause temporary disturbance. Trust the process. In these moments, it helps to remember your foundation. Return to the practices that brought you clarity. Stay connected to your faith, your spiritual community, and your daily rhythms. These will provide the structure you need. As everything else adjusts around you, also recognize that this is a generational turning point. What you've undergone isn't just for your benefit. it's for those who come after you. Your resilience, your discipline, your spiritual clarity, all of it becomes a foundation for your children, your family, and your broader community. This legacy is not measured by material inheritance, but by spiritual impact. When you choose growth over comfort, when you prioritize clarity over confusion, when you build habits that reflect wisdom rather than reaction, you are shaping a lineage. The divine recalibration that began quietly within you now radiates outward, affecting the atmosphere around you and the generations ahead of you. This is a rare and sacred responsibility, and it's one that unfolds slowly, not through dramatic events, but through consistent choices made with care and conviction. In practical terms, this means choosing integrity over convenience, choosing stillness over chaos, choosing service over ego. These daily choices build momentum, and over time, they define not only who you are, but what you leave behind. The spiritual shift also brings about a deeper awareness of timing. You begin to sense when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait. This sensitivity to timing isn't just intuition, it's alignment. It helps you avoid unnecessary detours and positions you to take strategic steps forward. You'll notice that your energy becomes more valuable not just to you, but to others. People may seek your input or your presence simply because they feel steadier when you're around. This is not something to be taken lightly. It is a result of the internal order you've cultivated through this spiritual process. As your capacity grows, so too does your ability to withstand pressure. You may be trusted with larger assignments, more responsibility, or increased visibility. And while this may feel intimidating, it's actually a reflection of your readiness. You have been fortified for this. Your transformation wasn't just for reflection, it was for readiness. Now, it becomes increasingly important to protect your focus. Not everything requires your attention. Not every invitation is an assignment. Discernment becomes a tool of stewardship, helping you to manage your energy wisely so that you remain effective over the long term. In this new season, be mindful of your language. Words have power, and as someone now operating in a clearer space, your words can uplift, guide, or harm. Choose them wisely. Use your voice to build, not tear down; to illuminate, not confuse. This includes how you speak to yourself. Internal dialogue is just as impactful as external speech. Replace criticism with compassion. Replace doubt with discipline. Your internal environment shapes your external reality. Continue to refine your environment. Surround yourself with materials, people, and practices that reflect your values and reinforce your growth. This could be as simple as creating a quiet space for prayer or reflection, or as significant as redefining who you share your most vulnerable thoughts with. Understand also that not every stage of growth will be easy to explain to others. Some people may not understand why you changed or what you're pursuing. That's okay. Your journey does not require universal validation. Let your life speak for itself. In time, the fruits of your transformation will become evident without needing explanation. This is a season of sustained clarity. You are now functioning with a higher level of awareness, energy, and responsibility. Guard that clarity. Protect it with rest, wisdom, and boundaries. Let it guide your decisions and shape your actions. As you move forward, expect to be stretched. Growth will continue. You will face new challenges and encounter new opportunities. Each will require a deeper level of faith, strategy, and endurance. But you are equipped. The foundation has been laid. The energy is within you. The clarity is active. Your job now is to remain aligned, to continue choosing spiritual discipline over distraction, purpose over passivity, and faith over fear. Every phase of this journey, from the instruction to stay indoors to the internal transformation, to the rising influence has been part of a larger pattern. You were not just protected, you were prepared. You are now positioned to live from a place of vision, not survival. To operate from strength, not reaction. To lead with peace, not pressure. What began as a spiritual nudge at 3 a.m. has become a full recalibration of your life. And as you continue walking forward, do so with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that every step has been guided, every shift has been intentional, and every challenge has contributed to your readiness. You are equipped, you are aligned, and you are ready to move forward, not just for yourself, but for everyone your life will touch. As you continue along this path, it's essential to reflect on what this transformation truly means for your long-term journey. The changes you have experienced are not isolated events. They are part of an ongoing, spiritual realignment that touches every layer of your life. From thought patterns and habits to relationships and purpose, each area has been subtly or significantly impacted by the energy you've now received. This phase is not the end of the process, but a foundational beginning. The clarity, resilience, and spiritual discernment you've developed must now be carried forward with consistency. The routines that helped you grow reflection, stillness, intentional focus are the very habits that will sustain you as new challenges emerge. Remember that transformation is not a destination. It is a continuous state of becoming. Just as nature moves through seasons, your spiritual life will cycle through phases of planting, growth, testing, and harvest. Each phase holds its own value. Some will stretch you, others will restore you. Through them all, your role is to remain present, grounded, and open to further refinement. Having undergone this inner shift, you may feel compelled to reorganize your life around what now matters most. Old ambitions that once consumed your focus may now seem secondary. New ideas and priorities might begin to take shape, ones that align more closely with your values and long-term vision. Trust that this reorientation is natural. It is a sign that your internal compass is adjusting to a more meaningful direction. It's also important to be aware of how this internal transformation impacts your surroundings. People around you may start to respond to you differently. Some may be drawn to your presence, seeking guidance, or simply finding comfort in your steadiness. Others may feel challenged or unsettled by your growth, especially if they are not yet ready to embrace change in their own lives. This contrast is not something you need to fix. It is simply part of the ripple effect of your progress. Your life is now a reflection of a deeper alignment. Every word, decision, and interaction becomes an opportunity to reflect the clarity and strength you've cultivated. You are no longer reacting from fear or confusion, but responding from a centered, purposeful place. This is the quiet power of spiritual maturity. It influences without forcing, leads without dominating, and inspires without seeking recognition. There may still be challenges ahead. Even with newfound clarity and strength, life will continue to present moments of uncertainty, resistance, or delay. But your relationship to these challenges has changed. You now have the tools, insight, and inner stability to navigate them with greater wisdom and endurance. You also now understand that not everything must be solved immediately. Some lessons take time. Some answers unfold gradually. Trust in the pace of your journey. Growth doesn't always look like rapid progress. It often looks like patience, consistency, and quiet perseverance. As you settle into this new way of being, make space for gratitude, not only for what you've overcome, but for the clarity that now exists where confusion once reigned. Gratitude anchors transformation. It shifts your attention from what is lacking to what is possible. It helps you see how even the most difficult moments were shaping you for greater resilience. There will also be times of renewal where your energy will need to be replenished. Don't neglect these moments. Rest is not a retreat from growth, it is part of it. Make space in your routine to pause, reflect, and allow your mind and body to recover from ongoing demands. The strength you carry is meant to be sustained, not spent all at once. This journey has also emphasized the importance of discernment. Not every opportunity is aligned with your calling. Not every voice deserves your attention. Learning to distinguish between distractions and direction is one of the most important skills you can carry forward. The clearer you become about your values, the easier it becomes to say no to what does not serve your purpose. You may also begin to see a clearer vision for your future. A path that once seemed clouded by uncertainty may now reveal signs of direction. Pay attention to these indicators. Sometimes they show up as patterns in your conversations, recurring ideas, or persistent inner convictions. These are not to be ignored. They are often the next steps of your calling beginning to take shape. In this season of post-transformation, you are also being positioned as a builder, not just of your own life, but of something larger. Whether it's a family, a project, a community, or a purpose-driven mission, your influence now has the potential to create meaningful, long-term impact. You're no longer working from a place of confusion or reaction. You're building with intention. And this is perhaps one of the most important lessons of the entire journey. You are no longer the same person who started this process. The uncertainty, exhaustion, or fear that may have once defined you no longer hold power. Your spiritual clarity has created space for a new identity to emerge, one that leads with stability, functions with purpose, and lives with integrity. You now stand at a point of quiet strength. No need for external validation. No need to rush or prove anything. You are aligned. And alignment creates peace, even in the midst of movement, even when the next step is still unfolding. Let this be your reminder. The real transformation is not always about what others can see. It's about what you now carry within. The presence, the discernment, the stability, and the ability to move through life with vision and conviction. The transformation you have undergone is real. It has prepared you to step into greater roles of responsibility, leadership, and service. But most importantly, it has positioned you to live a life of depth, peace, and purpose. Your journey now becomes your offering, an example for those still seeking clarity, healing, and direction. You are a living reminder that change is possible, that peace is attainable, and that when aligned with a higher calling, one person can have a profound impact on many. This is your new beginning. Step forward with confidence. Live with intention. And never forget you were chosen for this.